Hello everybody, welcome back to another video. I'm hoping you guys are all having a fantastic day. So today's upload, we'll be talking yet again about that potential very large snowstorm, blizzard, depending on where you live. A lot of details are still unclear, but we do have some more and more conformity along the models. They are showing more of a single scenario versus all over the place. So definitely more confident, but still a lot of, again, fuzzy details. I do want to preface, for official information, always go to the National Weather Service, as they could provide for your location the most specific kinds of warnings, data, and the best information. But I'm a hobbyist, I am a weather enthusiast, and people sometimes like to listen to me. I like to talk, so it's a win-win. And if you guys like anything you see throughout this video, consider checking out my other videos and see if this channel is worthy of a subscription. And if you do want to support this channel, especially if you're a returning viewer, liking the video would be awesome. Otherwise, let's get into this. I do want to say that in case I do sound a bit energy drained or a bit tired, I was outside in the garden for almost all the day doing all sorts of yard work, cleaning up for the garden, and I am a bit tired, but hopefully that won't make an impact. Hopefully that shouldn't even have been said, as it won't be noticed. Alright, let's get looking. So people yesterday, a couple of people asked why do I look at, why I looked at the European as the last model. I usually just show them randomly, so there's really no rhyme or reason, and that just kind of describes my life. No rhyme or reason either. So just for the sake of it, I'll start off with the European today, as really I think the European is a really good model, and it's the best model. Again though, not always, unfortunately. You can't tell when it's going to be wrong or right. But let's take a look at this. So this is the latest model run as of Saturday, the 28th of November, noon, and that was around 5 hours ago, since it's 5 o'clock as I'm recording this. And this is the surface radar, so it's basically like the simulated radar and what the European model thinks is going to happen. So let's put this into motion. Notice that right now really we don't have anything going on at all. If I were to say anything about a blizzard and you were to look at this map, you would say I'm crazy, and that's fair enough. But let's just put this into motion and let's see what happens. So unfortunately, the dates, it doesn't have on tropical tidbits, like where it's larger, so I will be going over the dates more specifically. So notice, this is Saturday evening at around 7 o'clock, so really right around now. This is around 2 o'clock in the morning Sunday. Basically, we have a little piece of energy that's bringing down cold air to the north across southern Ontario and eastern Manitoba. And we do also have some showers and thunderstorm activity across the southern United States. That is the second piece of that storm. And there's a lot of unconfidence. There's a lot of details are still missing because of this being a two-piece storm. And always, storms that have two pieces usually tend to be a bit more unclear, since, let alone, it's hard to predict one piece of energy versus two and how they combine and interact. But overall, the models have done a pretty consistent job in the last few days, so definitely not something that is going to maybe bring like a huge upset. Again, at this point, the details seem to be really zoning in. And if you were to put this into motion, notice that by tomorrow morning, really in the afternoon, noon to early afternoon and early morning, late morning hours, depending on where you live, the West Coast, Central United States, or East Coast. And for my location, Central Standard Time, this is at around 12 o'clock at noon, so 1 o'clock Eastern, and that's just, this 18Z is representative of 6 o'clock in the afternoon, but in a region of the world where it's 00, which is basically where the longitude, I think, starts at 0. And notice that we put this into motion, and as we really take this into Sunday evening and into Monday really early morning, we see a lot of rain across the south, and that's going to be also a concern, let alone, the blizzard. Yes, that's a big factor, but there will be heavy rain across portions of the south, some thunderstorms. The National Weather Service was even mentioning a bit of tornadoes may occur across portions of Georgia, Alabama, Mississippi, Tennessee, North Carolina, South Carolina. Tornadoes obviously wouldn't be that widespread. It's not going to be a huge outbreak, few isolated ones, but the heavy rain will be widespread. So this is late Sunday evening. This is now early Monday morning. This is now at around 7 o'clock Monday morning, so when people are heading out back to work from the weekend. the holiday weekend, especially for folks that are living in portions of Indiana and Ohio, and we'll start seeing that rain transition to snow. Probably the nastiest time will be at around early Monday morning, and that's when the ice will be falling. Again, I preface this, ice is probably worse than snow because of how little of it can fall and yet wreak so much havoc. So again, this is, you can see they're showing a mix, though definitely a bit of freezing rain may be part of that mix, but generally when they show that purple area, it's more of a sleet versus rain and snow rather than just freezing rain. But let's put this into motion. This is Monday afternoon. This is Monday in the evening hours. Notice that we start seeing the snow band really increase across portions of Indiana and Ohio. And again, I do want to preface this, some of the snow will be going down pretty far south. So as this low pressure moves to the north, the first little wave that we saw earlier brought down that cold air, kind of phases together with that system, the southern storm. Lots of rain. I mean, the coastal areas will be seeing rain, rain, rain. The winds will also be pretty powerful, blasting from the south and east. So again, some lakeshore flooding will be possible. Or lakeshore. I said lakeshore flooding because I'm always used to seeing alerts for Chicago as lakeshore events since it's a lake. But some flood advisories and definitely some storm surge possible. You know, not with a hurricane, not that level, but definitely a bit of erosion going on from a system like this. Lots of rain again, and the snow band really starts cranking up. I do want to emphasize that there will be snow across northwestern Indiana, maybe into extreme portions of eastern Illinois. There could fall 2 to 4 inches of snow, and the reason I'm signaling that out is not because I live in Chicago and I'm biased, but because this looks, you know, it's pretty disconnected, but there still could be a relative high amount of snow, 6-7 inches in some locations, even though the main system precip is not going to be impacting those locations. The northwestern Indiana area, to be specific. Notice the European, how it differs from the other models, which I'll show you in just a minute, is that it brings the storm out pretty quickly. It, takes it through, and really by, this is now late Monday evening, and this is now Tuesday, 2 o'clock in the morning, 1 o'clock, 12 o'clock, depending on the time zone. And again, the models are probably a few hours off. Around this time frame, this is what the storm will look like, centered across the Adirondacks in New York, bringing pretty heavy snow, and the winds will be also pretty strong with this system. And notice that we could be looking at quite a bit of heavy snowfall across portions of southern Quebec, and that could transition over to rain as the system brings in more rain or warm air from the south. Again, the precipitation in terms of snow does stick around for a while, but surprisingly enough, there's models that show it sticking around for even longer period of time. It could go through some brief intensifications, notice 989, and definitely bringing a few additional inches across portions of southern Canada and across the lakes. But really by Thursday of next week, which seems very far out, especially since the system may begin to impact the United States as early as tomorrow. By Thursday, late Wednesday, it seems to be moving out and really just affecting portions of Canada, but not even, with a huge amounts of snow. It really kind of shifts its energy off the coast. And then just to show you this, for the fun of it, there will be a second system following that first one very quickly, and this one again has a lot of unconfidence. We'll have to see. Each model shows it differently. Some bring it across the coast, others don't. But let's take a look at the total snowfall accumulations from the European model. Again, this is just one model, and the European is on the lighter side, actually. Even if the European is right, which it's hard to tell if it's going to be, even if it's right, it's still going to be a significant system. It paints at around 12 inches of snow across Cleveland, a foot or more. So that's definitely significant, and I will just demonstrate this to you. Notice much of Ohio seeing plus 6 inches, which is that purple color. Detroit, again, around half a foot or more. Northwestern Indiana, those are conservative amounts. Again, long-range models don't do well with lake effect. The National Weather Service right now is calling for 4 to 6, 5 inches of snow. West Virginia, another area that could be seeing anywhere from 6 to 10 inches of snow, a bit further as you go towards North Carolina, Virginia. Appalachian also seeing quite a bit of snow. Not a huge event, but 5, 6, 7 inches. And again, that may be a bit underdone. And even for portions of Alabama and Georgia, you could be seeing a bit of snow. If you were to take a look at the National Weather Service, they actually have a special weather statement across really a good portion of the state. And what they say in this, I won't really read it through the whole thing, but what they say is that heavy rain, tornadoes, very malignant weather, and then that could be followed by some snow. Amounts generally under 1 inch, but again, an inch of snow across portions of Georgia, especially in November, is pretty unusual, and it just shows you the strength of this storm. It shows you the true size of this storm, as it could be bringing snow anywhere from Georgia, as far south as Georgia, Alabama, all the way to portions of northern Canada. So this thing will be very, very large, very big, and that is indicated by obviously snow. And let's take a look at some other models. So again, the European is not the only model that we look at. If that were the case, that would be pretty simple. We would just take a look at that and say it's right. Alright, so this is the Canadian GDPS, and let's see its snowfall amounts. Notice, it does not have a foot of snow across Cleveland, but it's very close. 9 inches, you can see 6 to 10 inches. More across Michigan. It shows heavier amounts across the snow belts into Indiana, which I think is more accurate. Notice portions of Dayton, Cincinnati, seeing 7, 8, 9 inches of snow. Southeastern Ohio, the amounts dwindle as well as into West Virginia. You can see Kentucky, though, over 6 inches across several locations, if not a good amount of the state. And same goes into portions of Georgia and Alabama, some snow showers occurring and bringing those snowfall amounts to pretty high levels. Let's take a look at the Canadian Precip Graph, but on tropical tidbits, and just to change up the little background. And notice that, again, very similar into Sunday. It starts bringing rain across the south, and by early Monday morning, some of that starts phasing with that northern piece of energy. You can see right there we have a bit of, again, rain and snow starting to transition. Right there, early Monday morning, 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock in the morning, we start seeing that snow fall. That low pressure is intensifying as it moves up the coast, and it's, not a bomb cyclone, but it's definitely moisture laden, and as it does so, with the Canadian, it really takes its sweet old time. It doesn't move at all. And notice that into portions of Ohio, Indiana, they start seeing snow early Monday morning, and don't stop seeing snow until early Wednesday morning. So around 2 days of snow. Not heavily falling at all times, but falling and accumulating. Notice it does keep a secondary low pressure that forms off the cold edge, if you will, and that again kind of brings more snow amounts in terms of lake effect and across portions of southern Canada. So that continues circulating the cold air. You could see right there the cold air still being there because of that low pressure, and that's important because that sets up the stage for this secondary system, which again most models disagree on, but you could see the Canadian takes it pretty close to the northeast. We'll have to see how that unfolds, and definitely an abundance of cold air is available across the country for at least the first 10 days of December. Now, let's take a glance at the GFS parallel. This is a model that is relatively good at forecasting. It is supposed to be an upgrade of the GFS, and honestly, in my opinion, it's rivaling the European in terms of accuracy. It doesn't come out often, but when it does, it had already several victories over the European this year, especially with the fall storms and snow systems across southern Canada. The GFS parallel definitely did a better job. So we'll have to see. This might be the new potential, the new big model. Hopefully it is, because they put a lot of work into this, and it's constantly being upgraded, and it's not the operational model yet. So again, up until that point, it's constantly being improved on. Notice that as we push this into time, again, Sunday, rain across the south. Depending on where you live, it will be earlier or later on in the day. But really, by late Sunday evening, it should be most of the southeastern United States as depicted by this. Again, really by, late Sunday as well, early Monday morning, the cold air starts filtering in. Those two meet up, those two sides, and you can see snow starts breaking out across Ohio, Indiana. Definitely more and further to the south and east than with the Canadian, the GFS parallel shows. But still sticks the snow around again for a while and starts and tries to develop another low pressure right there, which continues the snow across Canada and into portions of New York. So Montreal, Ottawa, Quebec, and Toronto will all be seeing, decent amounts of snow, not maybe even from the first wave, which again, it's still a bit of fuzzy details on that, but also from that second low pressure that kind of sticks around. And the GFS parallel, again, shows a system of its own, different than the European and the Canadian, and also maintains an active pattern. Let's take a glance at the total snowfall accumulations through around hour 186, ignoring anything that falls here as that's from the new system. Notice the GFS parallel has been very heavy towards the Canadian side. It shows a lot of snow on the border between Ontario and Quebec, really splitting through James Bay. Very copious amounts of snow. Still pretty heavy across Ohio, Pennsylvania, West Virginia. Just not as heavy as some of the other models. Definitely the GFS ensembles have been showing a bit of a weaker storm. The European, Canadian, and the high resolutions have been showing more of a heavier system. If you were to look at the regular GFS, really the same thing. A bit of a different layout, but heavier snow across southern Canada. Still, I mean, you could see right there across northern Ohio with the lake effect potentially. Maybe up to a foot of snow with the GFS showing that as well. But still, Ohio, Virginia, Kentucky, Tennessee, and even to portions of Georgia, there could be seeing an inch or two of snow. This wouldn't be as significant, but if I were to take a look at the low pressure and the winds associated with it, you would quickly see why it doesn't have to be a super snowy storm in order for it to be dangerous. Let's go back here and take a glance at this when it's at its peak, if you will. Notice the winds are pretty strong. Now, whether or not this will be enough for a blizzard warning to be issued, it's tough to tell. The National Weather Service issues those pretty carefully because people usually don't associate a blizzard with minimal snow but heavy snow, so it causes panic. So they only do it when it's 100% going to happen, when they're confident. And again, the winds are going to be strong. Just how strong is going to determine a lot of this. Now, if we were to take a look at some of the high resolution models, the RGEM, it's a very good model. It has done a pretty good job in the previous storm systems. And yet again, it is doing a pretty active scenario with this snowstorm. So notice as we push into early Monday morning, late Sunday afternoon, we see a big low pressure pushing out from the southeast and into the northeast. This is bringing, again, a lot of rain across the south, some tornadoes, quite a bit of snow as those two systems work together. Illinois, Wisconsin, Iowa, Minnesota, not seeing really snow out of this, but what you will be seeing is a lot of cold air, probably the coldest air of the season, especially for Illinois, Missouri, Arkansas. Maybe not so much Minnesota, as they've already seen a fair share of colder air. We push this forward. Notice lake effect is really the RGEM emphasizes the lake effect here, really favoring that, and lots of moisture. Again, the snow starts early Monday morning with the RGEM and continues for all of Tuesday, especially across Ohio and West Virginia and Tennessee. And then potentially another wave tries developing right here across southern Canada. Still snowing across Ohio and portions of Pennsylvania and West Virginia. This obviously would bring the snowfall amounts to some pretty high levels, 6, 7, 8, 9, 8 inches of snow, not out of the question. If we were to take a glance at the model run prior, the RGEM, it showed you could see a bit more snowfall, and the model run prior to that showed a bit less widespread. So the differences are there, but I do want to point out that it has been consistently showing a heavy stripe of lake effect snow off of Lake Michigan into northwestern Indiana. So that may be pretty significant, and we will definitely have to watch for that. Now, let's take a look at the NAM 12KM. It has definitely increased its amounts. At the beginning it was showing more of a lighter storm. Now you can see Ohio, Kentucky. These amounts right here are 3 to 4 or 5 inches. It's pretty significant. And right there, almost a foot of snow across Cleveland. Doesn't show much of lake effect in NAM 12KM, so that's interesting. The NAM, again, isn't really usually used for lake effect, and lake effect is very hard to predict, even with the best of the models. And one more model really I could show you is with NAM 3KM, but again, this only takes it through a tiny bit of the storm early Tuesday morning, and as you saw, it could be snowing through midday Wednesday with this system. But just to emphasize how similar most of the high resolution models are, you can see similar setup. Really, the track is generally the same, a rain to snow transition, and whether or not a bit of Chicago gets a bit of snow remains to be seen. Doesn't seem to be blockbuster by any means. The heaviest will fall into northern Indiana, which is definitely still going to be impactful. Notice it shows some snow showers into Alabama and Georgia, though this model often shows more snow shower activity than there usually is. And definitely a pretty interesting scenario with the NAM 3KM. And what I do want to emphasize yet again are those winds. You can see that they get pretty strong. They may have blizzard conditions and blizzard warnings issued. And cities like Cleveland will be seeing lake enhancement because of the wind direction coming from the north, so right off of Lake Erie. And they will be seeing the heavy system snow. So I would not be surprised if locations across northern Pennsylvania, really Erie and areas surrounding, into portions of upstate New York, southwestern Michigan, southeastern Michigan, and into really northern Ohio. So several locations seeing a foot, if not more, of snow. Now, Indiana, southern Michigan, southwestern Michigan. It depends on how that lake effect sets up. I do want to show you the winter weather, National Weather Service Cleveland snow amounts. So I looked at this yesterday with you guys, and you saw that they were conservatively showing 3 inches of snow as expected, and now basically they're showing the expected snowfall as what they showed yesterday for the high and 1 in 10 chance. They're still going a bit conservatively because there's a bit of details that have to be ironed out. But again, I do think that the amounts that will be finalized will be even higher than what they're expecting, 1 in 10. They've been just, kind of upgrading this as we go. Let's take a glance at some other models. Let's look into portions of, or into other areas, not models. Let's look at northern Indiana. This is the snowfall totals Monday through Tuesday. Again, this system will be going well into Wednesday. And notice, portions of northern Indiana, 3, 4, 5 inches of snow into maybe even Madairyville, LaPorte, South Bend, Gary, Indiana, also seeing some decent amounts. And obviously, these amounts really skyrocket to the north as you push into Ohio and further into Michigan. So it's definitely something we'll have to keep an eye on for. For my Chicago friends that live in Chicago and are a bit bummed about this not hitting you, you could see that maybe an inch of snow, not much more. Snow amounts may be higher across those locations, but it's really just the lake shore areas. And again, the pattern looks active and a lot more stuff going on in the future. Southeastern Michigan, again, no real alerts yet. But if you were to click on Detroit, they have snow likely Monday night and Tuesday, which, again, I think will be higher than just an inch. All right, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll catch you all guys in the next episode. See ya. Bye.